¿Qué milagro tiene que pasar para que me ames? ¿Qué estrella del cielo ha de caer para poderte convencer? Quiero sienta mi alma sola, quiero escaparme de este eterno anochecer. Dice mucha gente que los hombres nunca lloran, pero yo he tenido que volver a mi niñez una vez más. Me sigo preguntando por qué te sigo amando y dejas desangrando mis heridas. No puedo colmarte ni de joyas ni dinero, pero puedo darte un corazón que es verdadero. Mis alas en el viento necesitan de tus besos. Acompáñame en el viaje que volar solo no puedo. Y sabes que eres la princesa de mis sueños encantados. Cuántas guerras he librado por tenerte aquí a mi lado. No me canso de buscarte, no me importa ni arriesgarte. Si al final de esta aventura yo lograra conquistarte. Y he pintado a mi princesa en un cuadro imaginario. Le cantaba en el oído susurrando muy despacio. Tanto tiempo he naufragado y yo sé que no fue en vano. No he dejado de intentarlo, porque creo en los milagros. Sigo caminando en el desierto del deseo. Tantas madrugadas me he perdido en el recuerdo, viviendo el desespero, muriendo en la tristeza por no ver cambiar este destino. No puedo colmar.
The perfect storm. The rain has really picked up. The beach used to be about 150 yards that way.
We already have rescues ongoing.
As 60 million Americans braced for the storm of the century, the images were harrowing. A devastating water world of flooding, fire, and fear.
A dramatic rescue took place at a hospital. The backup generators there also failed. Tiny babies rushed out, oxygen pumped by hand, and our David Muir was there overnight into the early morning hours. David.
We're still here tonight, Diane. NYU Medical Center is the hospital in question, and I wanted to show you right here behind me. If you look up at the hospital, you can see it's still pitch black. After those generators failed a little less than 24 hours ago, it was at that moment the respirators went down, the elevators jammed, and as you mentioned, Diane, when it came to the newborns, they turned to CPR bags to actually pump the air in themselves, those tiny little lungs, to keep the babies alive. When we arrived, all you could see was the outline of the hospital against a darkened sky. A lone flashlight up in one of the hospital rooms there as doctors and nurses rushed from patient to patient. Out front, ambulances, these images from my iPhone as we approached the hospital. Just one of the nearly 300 patients who were one by one brought out and taken to safety. From the sky, the ambulances lined up around the block from all over the city. And we're learning more tonight about the moment the lights went out, the moment those critical machines, the respirators, stopped. This young doctor was right there.
Making sure the patients on ventilators were safe.
The babies.
Babies, yeah.
Their first concern, the babies in intensive care, 20 of them. This nurse, clutching a newborn wrapped in a blanket, holding one of those plastic bags. She was doing the work of the respirator herself. In fact, all of the nurses in that unit were doing what's called bagging the air, literally squeezing bags of air into those tiny little lungs, cradling the babies and carrying them 9 floors down. Another baby rushed out, dwarfed by the size of the gurney. Once outside, the bag replaced with oxygen brought in by the paramedics. An entire team surrounding one baby. In fact, the hospital source telling me tonight that's what they did the moment the power was cut off, dividing up into teams, surrounding one patient at a time, carefully bringing them down a darkened stairwell, carrying them on plastic sleds rushed in by the paramedics, flashlights, all they had to see their way.
So there was literally a bunch of people who would just go with each patient to carry them down the stairs physically.
They were pulled out on that sled, sliding along the hospital floor. One by one, we watched.
During the darkness of the storm, I think we also saw what's brightest in America. Nurses at NYU Hospital carrying fragile newborns to safety.
We know that more than a half-dozen area hospitals took all of the patients from this one hospital alone dying.
Monday night, this baby, 13-day-old baby Martinez, a preemie weighing just 2 pounds, suddenly needed to be urgently transported from NYU Langone Hospital to Mount Sinai. Challenging, under any conditions, and these were extraordinary ones. At about 10:30 p.m., CEO of Mount Sinai, Dr. Kenneth Davis, got the call. Within an hour, the babies from Langone started arriving.
It's frightening. It's as bad as challenging as you can get. And when you're dealing with tiny little babies like this who are so fragile, it really can be an extraordinary circumstance.
We're in front of NYU Medical Center. Mount Sinai is several blocks to the north over there and about 4 blocks to the west. And that's sort of the important point, because just over there is the East River. What we now know is at 7 p.m., there was no water inside that hospital. At 7:45, there was 10 feet. The power started to go out, and then the generators failed. And all of a sudden, these patients and the doctors found themselves in a worst-case scenario. As for the parents of little baby Martinez, they found out the hospital and their daughter would be evacuated when they watched Mayor Michael Bloomberg on TV. Shortly after, they lost power, and they had no idea where their baby would be taken.
It was confirmed by my family members that they were calling on me on the phone, because suddenly I lost outage in my apartment. We had no access to the TV, no access to internet, no phone services at home. It was just ourselves.
Just imagine the desperation, the nightmare. Their 13-day-old baby rushed through the streets of New York City in the middle of Hurricane Sandy, while they were stuck at home in New Jersey. All they could do was hope, pray, and wait for word of where they could find their newborn.
All the bridges were closed, and we had no choice but to go back home and just sit and wait for today to get here. And it was a very long night. Very, very, very low night. I haven't had not even 1 hour of sleep.
Dr. Kenneth Davis, who we met earlier, is also the man who okayed the transfer. And now for the first time, he will meet the baby he helped save.
You need a hug. Oh my goodness.
Thank you so very
That's so
much.
hard. And your dad?
Yes, sir.
Wow. It's going to be okay.
You got any names picked out?
Her name is Emma Sophia.
Some of the most vulnerable, the 20 tiny babies housed in the 9th floor neonatal intensive care unit at NYU Langone Medical Center. They were among the hundreds of patients evacuated after the East River flooded the hospital and the backup generator lost power. For these 7 NYU nurses, it's a challenging job in the best of times. The babies range in size from just under 2 pounds to 4 pounds and require constant and careful care.
I was like, how are we going to do this?
4 of the babies were considered critical, needing help from machines to breathe. Without power, the nurses rely on battery-powered respirators to pump oxygen into the baby's lungs. The clock was
Por el huracán Sandy impidió el milagro de vida, y es que varios inocentes llegaron al mundo desafiando los azotes de este fenómeno natural. Las imágenes y las historias son verdaderamente impactantes. En medio de la destrucción y la muerte que dejó Sandy a su paso, esta madre hispana sobrevivió a la tormenta de un modo extraordinario. Su bebé prematura de solo 2 libras de peso y 13 días de nacida tuvo que ser evacuada de emergencia de un hospital a otro durante la noche, luego de que el centro médico se quedara sin agua ni electricidad. La madre vivió una pesadilla mientras que su pequeña Emma Sofía era transportada por las calles de Nueva York durante la tormenta. Ella se había quedado atrapada en su casa en Nueva York.
At Mount Sinai Hospital, Luz Martinez wrapped her arms around Nurse Beth Largy,
We're not going to let anything happen to her.
in whose arms her 2-pound baby Emma survived.
I'm never gonna forget what you did for our daughter.
I just wish that, you know, I had something to give to every one of them, but all I can say is just thank you and thank you and thank you.
Fantástico, excepcional. Y una pequeña bebé de 13 días de nacida, la sobreviviente más pequeña de Sandy. Mientras el mundo estaba pendiente de Sandy, para la familia Pimentel Martínez todo pasaba por Emma Sofía, una pequeña bebé de 13 días de nacida y 2 libras de peso, que estaba a punto de convertirse en una de las protagonistas de la mayor tormenta en la historia de Estados Unidos.
Pasé por muchas dificultades durante el embarazo
pero se me adelantó el parto. Estuve en el hospital hospitalizada casi por un mes y como se me adelantó el parto, bueno, tuve a luz antes de tiempo.
Significa todo en este mundo y visto a que la veo como un regalo de vida y la respuesta a mis oraciones y a todas las cosas que yo le he pedido a Dios. Significa todo.
La pequeña Emma Sofía recibía la delicada atención médica que requería para vivir en el hospital Lacún cuando el río Este se comenzó a desbordar y a las 7:45 de la noche el agua inundaba la clínica, se perdía la luz y se dañaba el generador. Una tormenta perfecta para médicos y también y sobre todo para los padres de Emma Sofía.
Vimos un reportaje especial donde decían que estaban sacando a todos los pacientes de NYU Hospital y en ese momento fue devastador, no puedo describir cómo, es como que se me paró la vida, el tiempo se me paró en ese lapso de tiempo y de repente veo que están sacando a mi bebé.
¿Qué le decía su instinto de madre?
Que algo no estaba bien, algo estaba pasando y yo tenía que llegar al hospital, yo tenía que comunicarme. Él me decía que me controlara, que todo estaba bien, que todo era nada más, usted me entiende, tal vez un susto, pero no, yo decía algo está mal y yo lo sé.
Mientras Emma Sofía era trasladada de hospital, Michael y Luz emprendían una desesperada carrera en su búsqueda.
En el momento que la sacaban, ella dependía de una máquina para que la ayude a respirar y ver que alguien tiene la vida de tu hija en las manos, soplando. Usaron como una máquina para pasarle oxígeno, algo que es prácticamente artificial, pero saber que tu hija está en las manos de alguien siendo trasladada en las escaleras, es algo devastador.
Salimos corriendo en el carro, pero todos los puentes lamentablemente estaban cerrados. Fue una cosa muy agonizante, no podíamos, desesperante.
¿Y en ese carro usted qué sentía?
Yo quería brincar el río, el puente, me quería tirar por un puente, abrir la puerta y era una cosa muy muy fea, no le deseas a nadie, a ninguna madre.
Emma Sofía sigue recibiendo todas las atenciones y cariño en el hospital Mount Sinai, donde se sigue graduando como toda una luchadora. Un bello cuento infantil tienen sus padres para contarle a esta pequeña bebé en algunos días.
By the sun each morning, putting my feet on a hardwood floor. I get to hear my children laughing down the hall through the bedroom door. Sometimes I sit on my front porch swing, just soaking up the day. I think to myself, this world is...
Hi Emma, this is Erica and this is Bibi, and we want to let you know that we love you so much and that we've loved you from the moment we knew you was on your way. You're such a miracle and blessing to our family, and we just want to let you know that your sisters love you and we can't wait for you to come home. We love you, Emma.
We're so much more than I deserve.
Hey Emma, just want to tell you that I love you. You are my joy, my trooper, and my miracle.
I have been blessed.
Hola mi pequeña princesa, quiero que sepas que eres mi gran milagro de vida, que eres la respuesta a todas mis oraciones. Siempre voy a estar aquí para ti, mi amor. Que Dios te bendiga. Te amo.
And when we're lying in the quiet and no words have to be said, I think to myself, this love is a beautiful gift. I have been blessed, and I feel like I found my way. I thank God for all I've been given. to sleep.